We're up.
The other, I'm
Draven,
semi.
we're up.
Greetings, comrades!
Welcome to another episode of the Fire Emblem Marathon by Rockshade and Draven Willow.
I am ready for some high-octane action.
Because today we're talking about Fire Emblem Fates, and more specifically, the Birthright route. So, we should start with, what is Fire Emblem Fates? Draven.
Well, how to describe it?
One of the most controversial Fire Emblem games to date because of the fact that it's 3 games, not 1.
And not to mention the third route that is considered the canonical one. And you know, for the full experience, you just need all 3 games. It's kind of a nightmare, but at the same time, we haven't even gotten to the story yet.
And it doesn't help that the main character of our conquest is an absolute Mary Sue, or Gary Sue.
I would always mention so. You know what? We'll get
to that when we get to it.
Yeah, we'll get to Corrin when we get to it.
Well,
they're honestly the person we have to
speak up first.
We saved that one for last.
Well, no, because we're doing this in order of when they're introducing them in each game. So let's start with Chapter 1. Let's start with Chapter 1.
Okay.
What happens in Chapter 1?
Now, unlike in a way. Well, unlike with most Fire Emblem games, you don't pick the route yet. That's the halfway through point. At least at around Chapter 6 or 5, if I'm correct?
6. So the game starts with you meeting Corrin, who is a sheltered Nori noble, in the Dark Country, as it is, and they've been trapped in a big old castle for their entire life.
It's sort of a usual kind of sheltered person thing.
And to be specific, Corrin is the my unit of this game, and also the Lord character.
This becomes
a massive problem. This becomes a massive problem because if it's a minor, that means it's your own self-insert, essentially, and they can't have much of a personality, and it shows. It shows badly.
Very heavily.
So
it's like not even funny how badly it shows.
We also introduced five other characters as I recall. Jacob, Felicia, Flora, Gunter, and technically all the Norian royals. However, we'll go into each of those characters once we actually get to the chapter they officially join. So, firstly, what is Corrin in gameplay?
Well, Corrin is the Lord, and the gameplay stats show, but he's also a my unit, which is actually kind of. It's a main thing that the Corrin can be broken, but it's also a thing that they cannot be.
Due to the fact that that you start with their base class of Norian prince or princess, their advanced form, and then whatever class you choose them to be at the start, getting them to any class like Robin takes a lot of support conversations, which we can get into later.
Yeah.
In fact, we can probably say stuff like that for the Revelations stream, because that game's short.
Yeah.
Ish. So, the specifics of the first 5 chapters can be summed up as this. Yes, I say first 5 because that you can literally skip them if you just want to go straight to the branch of fate. They start off as this: you finally out of the big fancy castle after meeting your 4 siblings, Xander, Xander, the oldest one, who is
and the more stoic one.
Huh?
And the more stoic one,
who's also happens to have gotten to his post by a stupid amount of training. I'm not joking. That's actually a thing that is brought up in its work conversations. Leo, the guy that seems high and mighty, which he kind of is, but he has methodology behind that. He's kind of a klutz, and he has an inferiority complex to Xander, although it's nowhere near as bad as another character we'll get into in this stream.
my favorite character from Birthright.
Camilla, your older sister, who is essentially who coddles you like no tomorrow.
Look, there's just a level of how much she calls him. If you've ever heard the definition of the weirdest possible thing is, she's like the definition of big sister kink and at the same time mommy kink.
Although there is like Xander, a reasoning behind this involving when Corin was a kid, which I will explain.
Yeah, you do that, since I know what it is, but I don't know full-on details.
TV tropes can help you with that. I'm not joking here. That's how I learned it. Anyway, then we are met with Elise, the shining beacon of light in the dark country that is Noir. Simply put, she is adorable, and alongside the other younger sister, protect her with your life. And yeah, if I'm being honest, I prefer the Nori nobles to the Hoshijin, so sad that I don't get to talk about them until next stream. Anyway, so after that, the character Corin is finally let out of their little prison by their father Garen, who has problems, which will also explain in Conquest. And the next few chapters are going to be similar to this. We get captured by the Oshidans, we are brought to the capital, and it's revealed we are in fact a prince/princess of Hoshido by blood. Garen captured us as a small child and killed our father Sumeragi.
If you've ever seen the meme, "You are my child now," that's where it's from.
That's exactly what happened with Garen. Then we also meet Azura, who is essentially the canon pairing with Corin, the blue-haired songstress and your dancer character, and
the earliest dancer in any Fire Emblem game, if I'm correct.
Yes, especially in Revelations. And then what happens next after a nice little heartwarming where we meet the Hoshin worlds, which we'll have to get into personally when we get them in the game. Then,
which won't take long for two of them.
Yes. Then shit happens, and the sword we got from Grango Ganglari gets it blows up, literally, and then this weird guy comes and uses it, and Mikoto, your mother, is killed. And
quite the fun things going on here.
And then, remember what happened?
Then, well, there's two things. One, you sort of arrive at a
chapter itself, buddy.
Well, we're at the choice now.
No.
Are we still on the death? Yeah.
Their reaction to her dying.
Well, shock, horror, or Takumi. Takumi blames you.
And then we turn to a dragon.
Well, the Takumi blames you parts afterwards, but you know, same difference.
Essentially, Korin goes mad with grief, and they turn into this weird water dragon deer thing. It's not really a dragon. Don't even have a face. And
yeah,
and they're on a rampage. And then Azura calms us down using her plot device singing, and then we get Dragonstone. And at that point, everything goes to shit. Nor and Hoshido are fighting, and then we get the choice after a very interesting cutscene where we see all 8 of the royals looking at you.
Yeah. So
the choices are this. You can either side with Hoshido, Nor, or, and this is only in Revelations, you can side with neither and try and fix the problem yourself. However, since the name of this stream is Fate's Birthright, we're talking about Birthright. Draven, would you like to explain what happens once you pick to side with Hoshido?
Well, to quote, Xander's like, alright, fuck you then.
Sort of. Xander, this is something that's actually kind of interesting. For both sides, here's the thing. The Hoshidans, if you side against them, they react with denial, while the Norians, especially Xander, react with a slight bit of resignation, but they still will accept your idea. This is something that makes me like Norian Nobles more, because while the Hoshidan Royals completely enter into denial, especially Ryoma, the Norians actually accept this, even if they're not happy about it. Xander, in fact, Xander, when we get to his chapter, is probably one of the most level-headed characters in the whole series. Game.
Series of games. In this, you know.
In Fate, he's one of the most level-headed characters in Fates, which is saying something. Okay. And then we enter Chapter 6. If I can bring it up. In the White Light. What do we have to do? Well, firstly, you get access to all the Hoshi nobles except for Sakura, and then you have to fight a bunch of Norians.
And, you know, your siblings.
Except for Xander and for certain reasons.
Yeah.
At this point, you go into Chapter 7 of Vow Upheld. The chapter itself is rather simple. It's a defend map from the invading Norians. And who do you get at the start? And now, who do you get at the start of this chapter?
Well, let's see if I'm correct. It is, well, there's Sakura and
her two
Kaze?
retainers. Her two retainers, which are Hana and Tsubanaki, and we got Kaze before this chapter. Yeah. So at this point, we get Oh, and we also get, if I can recall correctly, Jacob or Felicia, depending on your character. So, what is the difference between getting Jacob and Felicia, you may ask?
Nothing besides personality.
I meant how you get one or the other.
Well, the difference between both, at least in terms of when you get them in routes, one will just follow you no matter where you go.
Okay, I'm gonna be more specific here. The character that is the opposite gender of yours is the one you start with. So if you start with the female Korin, you get Jacob. If you start with the male Korin, you get Felicia. And now we have to go into their characters. First, what is Korin's character? Korin.
Well,
Mary Sue mixed with dumbass.
It's not even. It's like so much worse than that too at times.
We can't explain it, but essentially, Korin is one of the dumbest characters in the whole damn series. There's a reason why they're so disliked by the fan base. And to be fair, we don't like them either. We don't like them either.
I only like female Corrin because she's like adorable.
Yeah,
she's a dumbass, but at least she's adorable, and part of her things are actually kind of sweet.
Yes, but like.
Although what just kind of sucks is that unlike Robin from Awakening, there is no difference in personality.
Yeah, Robin, between male and female Robin's a bit more playful and flirting, while male Robin's a bit more serious. Kind of like a lesser version of their offspring. Corrin, gender is purely aesthetic, and also depends on who you can S and A support with. That's it.
Yep.
There is almost no difference, and if there is one, there is?
If there is one, please tell us. We'd oh so love to hear it.
Because there is...
This sadly applies to their child, but we'll get to that later.
Actually, there is a bit of differences, but okay, to explain... Corrin is essentially in personality an idiot and naive, and they do a bunch of dumb things throughout the story. We won't spoil it because we don't want you guys to lose brain cells. We already have.
Honestly, we can give you slight details later, but that's really the dumbassery comes straight from Conquest.
Yeah, but they're more. But at least they have personality in that.
Really bad personality, but sure.
It's better than having no personality, like in Birthright or Revelations. Okay, we're running off topic. We just know that Corrin, in personality, they're really bad. In fact, we're probably one of the worst characters in the whole Fire Emblem series, bar very few, except someone like, say, Meg. But their gameplay is good.
Yeah.
Because they have access to the Yato, a unique weapon, which gets stronger over the game.
All games.
Yeah, each game gets 2 unique forms for the Yato. They can have access to the Dragon Stones, and when they advance, which in Birthright they can only become a Hoshin noble. As a Hoshin noble, they get access to staves, and their stats are more balanced.
Mainly just to go with the fact they're a bit more reasonable. Not reasonable. No, it's more like
more dumb. That's my headcanon anyway. Anyway, Felicia and Jacob. Who should we do first?
Well, it depends. Who did we start off? Which protagonist did we start off with playing first?
Female.
Jacob.
Yeah, Jacob. So Jacob is in essence strict and perfect as a butler. His class is butler, which essentially means he can heal and use daggers, or he can use ranged weapons.
You could say he's one hell of a butler. I had to.
Meme total check for Jacob. So what else is there about Jacob? Well, he's an absolute asshole to anyone who's in the Avatar, because the Avatar saved him from being thrown out on the street.
He sometimes grows on people.
But
sometimes
he is essentially there is actually conversations that he and Frederick can have in the DLC, which happens before the game, and that's where you get access to the Great Lord of Lodestar classes, and they are so similar, it's not even funny.
Yeah, they literally have a fucking talk about who does the butler thing better.
Yeah, no, if you can think of Frederick from Awakening, Jacob is like that, but less on the wary, more on the I will kill everyone who tries to hurt Corrin.
To give credit, he is not half of a bad character. He's honestly entertaining to listen to. listen to and see what he does, and his critical quotes
are all good.
I'm never gonna get over time to take out the trash.
Yes, and if you have him as a pair-up unit, he literally says stiff upper lip to you. Oh, and he has a glorious British accent. It's glorious.
Very glorious.
There's a reason why we like Jacob. As for his gameplay, he's better at actually attacking than healing because he has better strength growth. Although as the Jagan of the game, he is a Jagan, so he falls behind eventually.
You kind of find it surprising that he is the Jagan when there is an actual Jagan Hagen that you can only get in one route.
Well, no, you also get him in Conquest.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
No, you get him in Revelations too.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Plot.
Okay, fair. Anyway, yeah. By the way, Gunter, the old guy. Oh yeah, he got killed by falling down into the bottomless chasm by the backstabber jackass that is known as Hans.
He's
Bright Knights wear lots of armor. Ain't good for frail bridges, eh?
Yeah, no. Definitely ain't good when you're getting smacked.
Still, anyway, so Felicia, in gameplay, she's better at healing than attacking, and by the way, she looks adorable. But she is once again, like Jacob, a Jagan. But well, she's a good healer at least. Oh, and I have to note, in this game, child units are based on their fathers. Jacob's father is Dwyer, who we'll get into later. So, what is Felicia's personality?
Okay. First of all, adorable klutz is one thing. But also surprisingly actually good at military tacticians.
To explain, while Jacob is much better at the butlering part and less good at the battling part, in story anyway, not gameplay, Felicia is an absolute klutz, and she will break a dish almost constantly, but she is an amazing fighter. Which makes sense.
This is mainly due to where she was raised.
Although it is notable that if you start with Milcorn, Felicia will actually be better off than Jacob, because her stats are actually a bit higher than his, and she has better defensive growth than him. It's something I found out after a while. She's actually better in gameplay than Jacob, but the differences are so slight. It's only noticeable if you use her constantly.
Yeah, which the problem is I don't, because after I've just focused on Jacob, I'm like, what point is there to exist?
Fair. Anyway, moving on. So after those two, we meet up with a whopping 5 characters at Chapter 7 of Birthright. Let's start with a character that you automatically get no matter what the route. Kaze.
Kaze is
a ninja.
Well,
okay, I'll go into
Well, he's a ninja, and despite the irony of not being noticed by anyone,
girls flock to him.
Okay. His personality is that of actual stoicism. Yes. Somewhat. With a mixture of kindness and weirdly... It's more butlerish tendencies, but it's also more guiding tactician sort of thing.
Yeah, he's something of a voice of reason in the army. And a good talker. Also, 2 things about him. Firstly, I'd like to note that despite being a ninja, Kaze is the green cavalier of the game because, well, he's green. Also,
we'll get to that red one soon.
Yeah, later. Alongside him and another character that we're going to talk about in a sec, he is what I consider to be one of Corrin's retainers, because every royal has 2 retainers, and him and another unit join on every route, regardless of what route you picked, and they are essentially acted as Corrin's retainers. It's quite nice. And I'm sorry, but if he's not one of Corrin's retainers, then what is he? He's their retainer in all but name.
He's just not to mention similar to the other retainers for every other royal, he shares a critical quote with Corrin.
Yeah, and also here's the thing. Kaze has a bit of a thing where when he was young and when Corrin got kidnapped, Kaze was there and he still blamed himself for not being able to save Corrin. Although he was a kid, so it's something of survivor's guilt.
Fun!
In gameplay, Kaze acts like the titular Red-Green Cavalier, in that he's a good all-rounder, but due to being a ninja, he's a bit more squishy, but he is a fucking amazing mage killer. He has good resistance, so that means that if you toss him at a group of mages, he's probably going to go unscathed, especially since if he's using a shuriken, he will make it even harder. He will be able to hit them back from 2 squares away. Because shurikens and daggers, also known as throwing weapons, can hit from are like magic but physical. Also, they have a unique effect of lowering enemy stats depending on which weapon.
And sometimes giving you some bonuses, like healing.
Yeah. Shurikens and daggers essentially sap the opponent's strength. Now, I'm gonna note that Kaze, well, yes, he's a good unit. He can fall behind if his stack rows aren't good. Still.
Very much fall behind.
Oh yeah. He is one of those units where he has to have a couple good stack rows at the start, otherwise he is going to quickly fall behind, and there is no way for him to salvage it. Hell, even
how quickly you might ask? Well,
if he starts off as like I think level 4 or 5, if he doesn't have at least 2 or 3 good levels by level 9, he is on the bench.
Look, as a person who tries to keep units around for marriage options and such, it's difficult. It's painful just to see Ikaze just not be able to do jack shit.
Which is sad, because I've had playthroughs where Kaze has been my best unit. Conquest. No, not Conquest, sorry, Birthright, actually. In a way. Hell, even if you reclass him into a Dread Fighter, which is essentially a better Master Ninja, he still can fall behind. And yes, I know Dread Fighters require having 2 pass or more, but hey, it's there, I used it. And it also
was there for me as well.
Hey, Dread Fighters help with his with nulling magic.
Works.
Before we forget, what are his reclass what are his promotion options?
Well, hell, we've got Master Ninja and
Mechanist. Essentially,
Mechanist. Okay, I was trying to remember that one.
Master Ninja is essentially a better ninja that can also use katanas. Although, really, just keep him with shurikens. Also, some skills that make ninjas better is that firstly, they are the game's thieves because they have lock touch, and secondly, they come with Poison Strike. Now, what is Poison Strike?
Poison Strike, in simple explanations, is after every combat engagement, the enemy will take a certain number of damage after the fight.
I think it's 5 or 10.
I'm gonna probably guess 5 because 10 seems kind of too outrageous.
Fair. I should note that a lot of enemies have Poison Strike as well, so it's good if it's on your side, but if it's against you, be careful because it can chip away.
That can stack. It can stack up, and eventually you won't realize when your one unit is at 1 HP.
And believe me, I've had to restart chapters that took me forever before because I didn't notice that one user was surrounded by Poison Strike users. Poison Strike is something of a pain in the ass. Like most enemy ninjas, since they load your damn stats.
Now, as for what Mechanist does,
they get access to a couple of skills that make them better with automatons, some sort of NPC unit, and they get access to Yumi, which are bows. For some reason, due to the fact that Hoshido is more in line with medieval Japan, while Nora is more medieval Europe. A lot of classes in Birthright were renamed, given other stuff, and swords are now katanas, lances are naginatas, axes are clubs, and bows are Yumi, and then shurikens.
All simply, and also the tomes are different.
They're spirits.
Yep.
It's annoying. So, after Kaze, the hit or miss man, let's move on to who can be considered the best healer in the game in Birthright and Revelations. The adorable red bean mochi Sakura.
Now what is Sakura personality-wise? Well, timid is one thing,
but surprisingly forceful. You know how in Awakening Olivia was really shy, but also could also be really forceful when she wanted to. Yeah, that's her too. I'd like to know.
Yeah,
she was
she's very open to the forceful option more than Olivia.
Also, and I'd like to know she once broke a Yumi in half after Azama angered her enough.
That's
yeah,
different.
Yeah.
But besides the shy and timidness, she's very, very caring to her family and definitely to her retainers.
And as for what she is, she's a shrine maiden, which is a renamed cleric. I'd like to note that staves are also renamed as well into festals, and they have a range of 1 to 2 squares. So they're better than the normal heals. As for Sakura in gameplay,
do they heal the same or do they heal less?
It's a little less, but it's so negligible that that unless you're using a psychic stave, it's better off to use festals.
Yeah.
Anyway, as for her gameplay, Sakura is another cleric, so she has to do a lot of healing. But when she promotes, she can become one of 2 things: an Amanoiji, which is essentially a reclass sage, or a priestess, which is a healer that can use bows. And I'd like to note, as a priestess, she's wearing the same outfit that her mother was.
Mm-hmm.
She can do well as either, and well, I love having my Sakura with the Raijin Yumi, forge bow. Due to the fact that she has high magic, she's far better as an Amanoiji. I don't know how to say that.
Onmyoji.
Thank you. And since you just brought him up, let's talk about her retainers.
Yes. Let's start off with the how the hell do I describe? I have Hana.
My wife.
You know what? You take this one.
What? I married her in Birthright.
Yeah, you take this one.
Have I not told you that?
I think you only told me once, or I may have not have been listening.
Okay. So besides the fact that I married her, and she nearly killed me once when I went into the bath, we don't talk about that. By the way, Draven, we are speaking about my castle in the Revelations stream.
Oh boy,
Later. Anyway, Hana is the epitome of someone of a warrior. She's constantly trying to train and grow better for her best friend Sakura, to the extent that you can sometimes not even realize she's covered in cuts and bruises. Although there's a reason for this. Firstly, her father was also a retainer, and at one point she was told that a girl can't fight, and that pissed her off, and she's trained her ever since to you know, rebuke that comment. Also, this is a good point to note that all the Hoshin retainers are often nobles, or they're from a long line of retainers, while Norian retainers are often people from the slums or just picked up. It's a good noticing to show off how different the two countries are, because believe me, they're very different.
Very different.
Besides Hana's more rough traits, she's very kind and caring, and is quite girly. And as for her gameplay, she's a samurai, which is a renamed Myrmidon, and she fights like a Myrmidon. She's fragile, but she hits hard.
This, as a bit of a thing, just something quick. Nick, we should mention something new to the gameplay section. Characters' passive skills.
They're unique skills.
Unique skills.
Unique
passives.
All characters get a unique skill that is unique to only them, and they have varying uses. We should probably bring up all of these ones when we bring up the characters. Korin's essentially makes them stronger when they're paired with someone who's support or higher. Kaze's is essentially a fancy version of Miracle. You know, that goes from death if you're above 1 HP. Sakura's, as I recall, reduces damage by 2. With Hana's, if she kills an enemy and there are adjacent enemies to her, those enemies that are adjacent to her suffer 10 damage. It's really good.
Great things.
Now, Hana is the glassiest of cannons in that she hits really hard, and she can hit double almost everything, especially when you make her into a sword master with Astra. But her HP growth is abysmal, and you're essentially gonna have to use a Seraph Robe, an item that increases a character's HP by 5.
Why her health was always so low?
I think her HP growth is something like 50 or 40. Essentially, if she gets hit, she's going to be down to low HP really fast, so you're going to want to use a Seraph Robe, the item that increases HP by 5, to not have her die. And I mean, it permanently increases her HP by 5. Oh yeah, we forgot to mention, stat boosting items in this game, and except for the luck booster item and the HP booster item, they all increase stats by 2. The luck booster increases by 4, the HP increases by 5, 7 in older titles, and then the boots increase movement by 1, but those things are super rare.
Very rare.
So yeah, Hana hits really hard, but if she gets hits, she can really only take one hit before she goes down. Still, she's a good unit, and definitely one that I enjoyed using. Even
and
if
one you enjoyed being with.
I never used the my room function for various reasons.
Look, it's not that terrible.
She acts yandere in there. I'm not joking. She literally.
I'm sorry. Excusez-moi?
One of her lines is her being lovey-dovey. Then the screen goes dark, and she whispers in an almost growl, "No one's harming my husband," and it just oozed yandere.
You had one job, Intelligent Systems.
Don't fuck it up, and you fucked it up.
You had one job.
Oh yeah, well, we're not gonna get into my cast or any of that, except for small snippets like these until Revelations. But that place has problems, and is one of the reasons why Fates is so hated, because the fan service was up to 150 from Awakening.
We'll actually be getting to that. At probably, actually, surprisingly, there's not much fan service on Birthright, kind of.
No, there's fan service in all three because you know it's Fates.
Yeah, but there's like
getting
off
topic. Off topic.
Back to the show.
I'd like to know that before we finish it off, I'd like to know that Hana's outfits are very pink, and they're very fitting to the original idea of a samurai. Next up, we have the first male Pegasus Knight in the whole series. Dude, you are horrible at catching these.
I'm sorry, I think I actually forgot who he was.
Tsubaki, you dumb idiot! This is my
co-commentator. Oh yeah, right, I forgot. Oh yeah, right, I forgot Mr. Perfect existed.
I mean, I don't blame you. So let's go into this. Tsubaki is a Pegasus Knight, the first male Pegasus Knight in the whole damn series. His personal skill essentially makes it so that he hits harder if his HP is at full. But as for his gameplay, he's one of the worst. He is one of the worst Pegasus Knights in the whole damn series. It's that bad. And as for his personality, he's a perfectionist. Moving on to the next character, please.
And one other thing, since he's our next male on the category, his child is Kildori.
Who is essentially...
We'll get to her later.
We'll get into that later, but the child units...
We have 3 characters to get into later that I really think there are problems with!
I'll just put this simply, they essentially just brought over 6 characters from Awakening into Fates, and while 3 worked very well, the other 3 were horrible. Oh, and since I forgot to mention this, Kaze's daughter is Midori, who is adorable. Okay, next character, I'm looking at the info, and it says we're talking about Silas next.
Oh boy.
So to start...
Ladies and gentlemen, let us introduce you to Pitt! I mean...
Silas. Okay.
You know what, fuck it.
To explain what he's talking about, firstly, Silas is the other character who will always join you no matter the route alongside Kaze, and while Kaze is the Hoshin retainer for Korin, Silas is the Norian. And his voice actor is Pitts. You know, the guy from Kid Icarus Uprising?
Now, okay, someone is knocking at my door. You take this for a bit.
Okay. So Silas's personality is... he's the best friend of Korin, and this is showing his support, his personal skill, which essentially, if he's paired up with Korin, he gets a boost. That's about it. Silas is a very kind and caring individual, but he also is from a small noble family who kind of hated him. So he's a mix, but he did sneak Korin out of the castle once so they could go enjoy the outside world and have food. And I'd like to know, he mentioned that he knows their favorite food, which is different for each game. And I don't remember any of them. As for his gameplay, Silas is a cavalier, one of very few ones in this game. And as such, his stats are middling. However, Silas can become one of the best units in the whole game, especially in Revelations. Why is this? Simple. Silas has relatively high gross across the board, except for even his resistance. In fact, I think his only low stat is luck. But even then, he's going to hit hard. He's going to take hits from both magic and physical attacks very well. Although, since he has low speed and his speed growth isn't stellar, he's probably only going to be able to get in one hit. But at least he won't get doubled. All in all, Silas is one is, I always adore using because his personality is fun, if a little dark, like most Norians, and he's just a good character all around. I have to wait now because I know the next character is one of Draven's favorites. So I'll mention this. Hoshido and Nor. Hoshido is the peace-loving, light country that is based around medieval Japan. Samurais, Pegasus Knights, that sort of thing. As such, most of the characters are very light, cheerful, and conversationalists. And due to the fact that there are a lot of healers, most of their skill sets revolve around damage, but not having too many weaknesses. But when they do have a weakness, it's fairly big compared to the Norians, which I'll go into in Conquest. Birthright is also considered to be the easiest of the 3 games because it allows for skirmishes, and the difficulty is so easy you could solo with Ryoma. We'll go into later. Nor is the dark country who is constantly in war and has a lot of problems because they don't have a lot of food, so they have to attack Hoshido a lot. Their country is the definition of anti-hero because a lot of them are morally ambiguous, but they're good at what they do. And a lot of the classes in Nor are the ones that are shown throughout all the old series. And a lot of Norians have good defenses and they have self-healing for various reasons. Raven, you back yet?
Yeah, I'm back. Dinner was apparently ready.
Okay. So, I finished with Silas and talked a bit about some of the basics of Nor and Hoshido. And guess who the next character is?
Oh boy.
Would you like to know who?
Hit it. Hit me with it.
I will burn myself for Lorela!
I'm sorry, what?
We're talking about Saizo next.
Ah, yes, Saizo. The man, the Red Cavalier of this game.
And Kaze's brother. Silas is in essence a hot-blooded idiot. He's fiery, explosive, and has a bit of a temper. And that's most of his personality. Although there are 2 big caveats about his personality that make him a lot more fun. Firstly, he hates sweets. In fact, eating sweets makes him ill. As in, he once had to eat a sweet for Sakura because she was being so cuddly, and he got sick. Secondly, he is the definition of ninja despite being a hot-blooded idiot in that he has had to do a lot of murders and kills. In fact, he actually was closely tied to Baruka, a character from Nor. And he can take sips of soup without the one that cooked the soup noticing. And note that he wears a really cool mask. Also, one of his eyes, which as I recall his left eye, which is often closed, is blind after it got cut by an enemy, a small enemy nation called Makoshu, which is made of ninjas. So what's his gameplay?
Well, painful.
Firstly,
look. I didn't use Saizo much.
Firstly, neither did I, to be fair. Firstly, his personal skill is pyrotechnics, which essentially, if he goes under half health, he will deal damage to both him and the enemy who did it. So not that good.
Very fun.
As for his gameplay, you know how he mentioned that Kaze, if he needs a couple of levels under his belt to actually work well?
Yeah.
Saizo's like that, but worse.
Really worse.
He's not the worst defense screwed ninja. We'll get to her in a bit. But he's essentially he can hit things once, but then he'll get hit hard, his pyrokinesis will activate, and he'll probably die. Pyrotechnics. Yeah, I don't know what to say, because he's meh. Also, I'd like to know, his son is Asugi. another of those characters that you mentioned that translate horribly, like Kaldori.
You'll find out why when we get to them. Today, actually.
I'm not gonna lie, I have never used any of those three.
I have.
Oh god. Okay, so last character to begin in this chapter, Orochi.
Well, actually, you know what? I like Orochi.
Still, but we got Sakura, Hana, and Silas, and then we get Saizo and Orochi.
To be fair, personality-wise, Orochi is actually not that bad.
She's a fortune teller, and is quite good with a couple of people. Also, she used a retainer of Lady Mikoto, you know, the mother who got killed in Chapter 5.
Mm-hmm.
She's rather...
And her support conversation with Korin is actually not that bad.
I won't lie.
Bad. Mainly because they talk about...
I rarely use Orochi, so I don't know how to talk about her very well.
Well, I have, and I can at least give you support conversation 101 with her. She sort of acts like that aunt that always is a bit loving, sometimes a little bit forceful.
I have one. I have an aunt like that, so I know what you're talking about.
But she's at least kind and at least know when to back off. She specifically tells Korin about what her mother was like. And it's honestly pretty nice. She also has, surprisingly, actually a really cute support with Laszlo.
Interesting. We'll get into him later.
Next
stream. So, as for the gameplay, I don't know much, but she is, I don't remember her class now, but she's essentially the,
she's the mage.
Yeah, she's the mage of Hoshido, and she's kind of bad. Although, this is less because she herself is bad, but because Magic got a massive nerf in Fate, and it's goddamn near useless.
How much of a nerf exactly? Well, to the point where we can say this with certainty, only very few mages are useful. Very few.
Especially
and one of them has a fucking divine weapon.
And note, this is coming off Awakening, where Magic was at its peak.
Fun times, people. Fun times.
Yeah, Orochi isn't bad for stat growth. It's bad because Magic is just absolute shit in this game, and because a lot of enemy units have damn good resistance. I mean, rarely have I seen a mage do more damage than a physical unit in Fates.
Truly sad.
Let me just pull up my handy dandy phone, and let's see what the next chapter is. Oh, this is fun.
Is it who I think it is?
I mean, sort of.
Is it time for my boy?
Nope. It's time for Fierce Winds.
Oh no! Oh wait, we're actually just at the entrance in Birthright, right?
Yeah. Essentially.
Oh god, I hate both chapters that involve Fuma.
Essentially, Fierce Winds is we're trying to go to the Wind Tribe to get their help. Norians give an illusion of some of the Wind Tribe people being faceless, these creepy plot monster things. They're really just a plot device.
Really much plot device.
And yeah, they're a plot hole, really. And then we have to fight the Wind Tribe, along with their leader, Fuga.
And what is he like? Well, imagine if Krillin became more serious and got buff.
Fuga is a master of arms, which means he can use all three melee weapon types, and he hits hard, along with having Vantage. Yes, you heard me, Vantage, and Seal Strength, which raises your strength. The chapter itself isn't too bad, but Fuga is a pain in the neck, and
especially this early in the game. He's
also, I'd like
literally.
Also, he is playable, but you have to get one of the My Castle features up to level 3, and it's it's the hot springs.
And to point out, he's only available in Revelations.
So he's kind of useless.
Yep. Especially when at that point you'll have someone better.
Yeah.
Header. For example, you honestly could have any of the 3 units we're getting now. Such as the second noble we've recruited.
Hinoka.
Or Buttercup, basically.
Hinoka is a Pegasus Knight, and her personality is this: warrior who picked up a spear to get the Avatar back.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm sorry. She has little personality. I never used her. And she has no impact on any of the 3 stories ever. Even frickin' Camilla had more than her.
All I get from her, in all exact honesties, is she has a bond with her Pegasus. She usually is up for a fight. I mean, given that her sprite always has her permanently cracking her knuckles.
Yeah.
And her voice literally sounds like Buttercup. I think that kind of just tells you everything you need to know. She kind of has a... she has a somewhat nice support conversation with Hayato,
but
we'll get to later, and Leo.
Here's the thing. She's a tomboy princess, and this is showing off the problem with Fates in general. They went with quantity over quality. Because there are 70 units across all 3 games, but a lot of them are one-note characters, even worse than Radiant Dawn, and that game had a horrible roster for one-note characters. And they just don't have much to them. It doesn't help that Fates is except for... that unlike Awakening, where you can go back to it again and again and again, after you've beaten Fates, any of the 3 routes, you just never want to go back to it again. You're like, okay, I'm done, never touching this game again.
Mm-hmm.
And the only one you would is Revelations, because you have all the characters.
Or Conquest, if you want the challenge.
I mean... hell, but Revelation also has problems too. We'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to that 3rd stream.
Yeah. Okay. Next up, we have Setsuna, who is an archer, and considering that Takumi exists, she's kind of useless.
And this is actually and this is a mixture of. Okay. Her personality. Oh boy. Okay, there's a character motif of seems lazy and uncaring about the world around them, with an actual mix of they give a damn, and can actually do good with it. But Setsuna takes this character archetype and cranks it up to 11, and that's bad.
It's so bad that I've never used her, and she just
I've used her, and I can tell you this for certainty. I've only married her, and I quote this, to fucking Osama.
Okay. I give up. Yeah, I don't even remember what her personal skill is. Anyway, next up is Azama, one of the few good shooting characters. Firstly,
and why is that? Because unlike most host people, he doesn't give a shit about anything. He has zero filter.
Firstly, we should note that he's a priest, but he's kind of bad to use because he has better strength growth than magic, so it takes forever to level up. But if you can level him up, he becomes the rare great master class, which is a healer that can also use lances, and really what you should be doing with him. Also, his daughter is Mitama, and it's revealed when in conversations with her that Azuma, just like his daughter, has star-shaped pupils. We would know this because her eyes are always shut. As for who Azuma is, Azuma is a character who doesn't give a damn about anyone, and his filter is non-existent, which comes off as him. Like for some reason he's one of the most liked characters. I don't really see why, but
I think it's because out of all the Hoshiden characters, he has something unique about him.
Fair. But yeah, Azuma, he doesn't care about anyone or anything. In fact, he was literally forced by the people by his temple to go on a journey across several mountains because he was such a brat. And in doing so, he became a guy who didn't care about anything and is an atheist despite being a monk.
He also is, despite everything, he's also a nihilist.
Yeah, the only reason I even like him is because he doesn't care about a thing. He will gladly spell whatever he wants, and he actually brings some character to an otherwise bland country.
Yep.
Can you tell we don't like Can you tell we don't like Hoshiro that much? Because I'm being honest, if all the character went to the Norians.
This is sometimes a good and bad thing.
Usually a bad.
We'll explain when we get to there. But
also, I'd like to know his ending. He actually ends up making a religion based off of him, despite being an atheist and a nihilist.
Weirdly, I don't even think that was his own fault. People just flocked to him.
Yeah, they just flocked him. He didn't even mean to. Oh, and we do Also, we do have one more character that is introduced in this chapter. Hayato.
Basically, Riken with a lot more of a...
Yeah, Fuga's grandson, and he's Riken, but with a lot more spunk and trying to be an adult. I don't know anything else about him because I've never used him, and his daughter is...
I can give you this. If I had to say anything, he has certain things that make him different, but if I'm gonna be honest, the only time I can ever say I was that interested in him was his supports with Orochi, Ochi, Hinoka, and Nyx.
Okay. Anyway.
But Nyx has a better support with... If I'm gonna be honest, her best support is with Jacob.
Okay. Also, we'd like to note his daughter is Rajat, who is the third of the characters that did not translate well, and we'll get to her later, because she's an XP of that character. Know this.
We'll get to that one.
Also note this: Atsugi, Kildori, and Rajat, their names are anagrams of awakening characters. Can you figure it out? Well, if you can,
we'll get.
If you have figured out what their anagrams are of, then you essentially know who they are. Yep. Anyway,
and this is depressing.
Next chapter, Land of Gods.
Now, what is this one?
Land of Gods is where we're in Izumo, one of the few neutral countries, and the whole point of it is that Korin is trying to talk to the ruler Izuna, because he has foresight to find out what to do next.
No, Izana,
sorry. Also, Izana is one of the better characters in the game because he looks regal, but he's a fucking goofball. It's amazing.
To give a point, there is literally an everlasting party. Yeah. Party that always is at his place.
We like him because out of all the bland Fates characters, he's very bubbly and weird, it's kind of sad that he dies in Revelations, and I think he only came in Birthright.
No, he comes in Conquest too.
Oh, okay. Anyway, the two characters that we get this chapter are Hinata and Oboro.
And what are these two? Who like? Well,
firstly, they're the retainers. They were the retainers of Takumi, and I'll talk about Hinata. Let's talk about Hinata first and his gameplay. Hinata is a samurai, and essentially, if Hana was too squishy for you, if Hana was too squishy for you, Hinata is a more bulky version of her, and that's it. His ability to triple threat. If he gets hit by any of the melee weapon triangle, he will deal. Triple threat is essentially a counter if he's brought under 50 HP by a melee weapon. Yep.
And it's pretty good.
I haven't seen that much, but his personality is he's a good guy, and that's it.
He's sort of headstrong to a point. He's, if I had to describe him, he's sort of on that level of Yankee character archetype, but with less punk and more rowdy cheerfulness.
And that's about it. And his son, Hisame, is the same. It's another case.
Arguably the worst
child
in the game.
Yeah, no, here's the thing. Remember how I mentioned that Muriel and Lauren are kind of boring, and Lauren's just a revamp of Muriel? That's Hinata and Hisame.
To be fair, Hisame is a bit more serious, but there's just a problem.
We'll get to him later. Anyway, I'd like to note that as a samurai, he can become a sword master or a master of arms. He's better as a master of arms because he can use more weapons. That's it.
Yep.
Next up, Oboro. First thing to note.
One of my favorite Hoshido characters.
I like her too. First thing to note, actually three things. Firstly, she's one of the few more colorful characters. She has a face that looks like it's out of a nightmare, and she doesn't know how to turn it off. And this is due to the fact that she hates Norians, and this is shown in the fact that her personal skill gives her 3+3 damage to Norian characters, and she's a spear fighter, which is a revamp of the soldier class, a class that we forgot to mention in the first part of this whole thing, which is essentially a foot-bound. Which is because of the fact that soldier is often an enemy unit. It's only been in this game and the Tutelius games with someone like Nefene. It's essentially a foot soldier that uses lances, and it's good. It's essentially a lance-wielding mercenary. As a spear fighter, Oboro is essentially a lance-wielding mercenary, and that's it. But she's a good one because she's strong at it. Her reclasses are Spear Master, as I recall the name is, and Basara. Spear Master is a bear spear fighter, and they get a fancy flag on their shoulder, and a Basara is a lance user that can use magic. This is shown a lot because there's also an axe and a sword wielding version of this, as I recall. Now, Draven, personality, please.
So, Oro, out of all things, it's hard to say spunky, but at the same time, she's at least somewhat upbeat until...
Norians.
Yeah, specifically, she even has problems with Korin. Even after he or she has decided to join up with Hoshido, though she is still very, very suspicious of them.
It's because Norians killed her parents, and like I said, she has a face that looks out of a nightmare that just automatically comes on, and she cannot turn it off, and she really hates that they just automatically turns on at times. She
however, is kind to people. And one of her personal things is that she's actually a pretty good pretty good clothes maker.
Her parents were merchants and tailors, which came off to her because she is very good at business and making clothes. In fact, she's a fashionista because one of her critical quotes is, "That is so last season."
But it's not given. But it's not thrown too headstrong, unlike some characters.
Can you tell that Faith has problems, especially in the character department? Like we said, quantity over quality. Also, she has a massive crush on Takumi, and yeah. Next character, next chapter. Ninja Village.
What? Oh boy, yep, it's time.
Firstly, this chapter is in all three routes. Essentially, Makushu, a ninja country, tries to kill our army because Nor promised them they could get Hoshido, and that's it. What is the chapter, you may ask? It's full of ninjas and archers, and there are 3 big spots full of caltrops, which are essentially caltrops are little spiked things that if your character is on the tile with caltrops at the start of the turn, they take 2 damage. This can add up. And
a lot.
It's a pain in the ass.
You essentially have to play a game of just slow down, and yeah.
This is really
honestly,
this is really bad. This is really bad in Conquest. Oh my god! Oh no, we forgot a character, Draven.
Who?
Azura.
Let me take this.
Go ahead.
I've heard no end to this, and as of a reason, I'm going on an out of spite love trip for her.
You do it. It's all you. I went on with Olivia. You got.
Ladies and gentlemen, people of all ages, what I'm about to talk about is by far the most bland piece of cardboard in the entire game.
Not quite.
Let's talk about Azura.
Okay, before he goes off on a complete and total rant, I'm gonna stop him by saying, she can sing, and it's a plot device, and a plot hole. Her singing is essentially the response to any sort of problem that's in it, and it's used far too much, and it's bad. Okay.
So who is Azura? Azura is a noble at first of what seems to be Hoshido, but in reality it seems the opposite. It was a thing when it came to Corrin.
She's also
Corrin was kidnapped from Hoshido. Azura was kidnapped from Nor.
Also, she's the game's dancer as a songstress, and I'm not gonna lie, considering the fact that her voice actor did Lost in Thoughts all alone, the game's premiere song and something that is literally been stuck in my head since I first heard it. Her singing is good.
To give credit, her voice actress and her singing is great. I cannot even complain. They did actually something really good. However, her personality is
stoicism.
I don't want to say a cardboard because I'm going to say it way too much. But her personality can be described as very serious 100% of the time. Honestly, I feel she's more sheltered than Corrin. Because at least Corrin has a somewhat idea of certain things. But Azura sometimes loses herself. But she's not terrible, it's just she's not exciting. She's sort of usually not cold, but usually not too emotional at times.
Just to put it simply, all of her design went into her singing and how she looks, because she looks beautiful. Also,
her design is literally one of the best as you can really get from Fates.
and in exchange, her personality is cardboard. And also, here's something funny: she is a lance wielding unit, so she can actually be okay in a fight. And guess what? Draven, you might want to cover your ears if you can't take it. Her defense growth is almost as good as Benny's, who is a knight.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna point this out. You wanna know what I did for a playthrough of Conquest?
What?
I made Azura. On Conquest, when we got Azura, I made her sing non-stop for about, I think I reached turn... I honestly think I reached, like, over 40 turns.
Okay, whatever. Okay,
she needs to be leveled up.
Okay, the official next character that is introduced in Ninja Village is our boy Takumi.
My boy.
Fine.
Let me talk about Takumi. Oh,
Firstly,
man.
Before he goes off on a second rant, I should know that this is the game where archers were at their peak because bows were damn good. Also, Takumi is the first royal who has a legendary weapon, the Fujin, which roughly translates to wind god bow, because Fujin is the wind god in Japanese myth, and that bow makes him an utter monster.
How much of one? Well, let's just say that no matter who you are, even if you're a fucking armored unit, you're still taking the full brunt.
Yeah, also, I'd like to know, this is massive spoilers, by the way, so if you don't want to spoil for Conquest, cover your ears until I move off of the screen. Takumi is the final boss of Conquest. Okay, spoiler over. Anyway, Takumi is a beast in battle. He will always be good, and if you make him into a sniper, which you really should,
he's even better.
There is nothing stopping Takumi from killing everything except if he's part of the pub and melee range.
But that's one thing. What we will talk about in the next thing gets even better. Because then we have his personality.
Inferiority complex to Korin and Ryoma.
Now, unlike Leo, whose inferiority complex is somewhat smaller in comparison, it's still there. But Takumi's is to a whole full-blown level as drives him.
I'm gonna note that he was good with a blade, but when he realized, wait, Ryoma has a blade and it's a legendary one, he stopped using a blade in exchange for a bow, simply because he knew he couldn't beat Ryoma. Because Ryoma was Mr. Fucking Perfect.
But yeah, he took up a new.
While his inferiority complex and competitive drive is a big part of his character, he's surprisingly helpful, and his support conversation with Azura, who I had to marry in Birthright, by the way, are absolutely adorable.
Yep.
Okay, so here's the thing: Takumi talks big, and his skill makes it so that if someone's stronger than him, he does more damage. He's still quite sweet and adorable, and his support conversation with Camilla turned him into a stuttering schoolboy. So yeah,
his supports with Camilla are really just adorable.
We won't go too much into it, but essentially, Takumi is one of the best characters in all of Birthright.
And he shows it every single time.
Which can't be said the same for the next character.
Alright, actually, who would be next on the... Oh... Right...
Blangy Ninja. To explain, Kagero is the third...
Shit.
Kagero is the third ninja, and her title is Traditional Ninja. She's a ninja. That's it. She has horrible art style, and her boobs are the biggest in the whole damn game.
This is in comparison to Camilla.
Yes, she's actually bigger than Camilla.
Which, you know,
is saying something. Kagero is a fan. And
to give credit to some of her personality bits, she isn't bad. At least not that bad. It's just that sometimes her quirks have to be shown with certain support conversations.
Orochi.
And I do mean certain. Yeah, her best friend.
Here's the thing. As for her gameplay, it is simple. If Kaze is hit or miss, Saizo is even more hit or miss, then Kagero is the most hideous of misses. Why is this? Because she will deal she is the most strength-screwed ninja, but a single attack in later stages can kill her. That is it. Essentially,
is this depressing? Yes, it is.
Essentially, if you didn't like Kaze and you didn't like Saizo, don't even bother with her. And it's sad because I actually love the idea of the ninja class, but the characters are just kind of meh. Okay, next chapter, To the Sea. Come on.
Okay, wait. If I'm correct, we're getting. Oh no.
Essentially, it's simple. This is when the game starts getting harder as there are stronger units. If that can be even called harder, because they promoted. But it's simple. Camilla freezes the whole damn sea around you as you're trying to go to the Rainbow Sage. Thank you, Izana. And then you have to fight off her horde of enemies.
Oh yeah, that boat section.
Which requires using dragon veins. Why are dragon veins, you may say? Essentially, there's something that only the royals and anyone who has any offspring who has the royal symbol can use that affects the environment. They're a plot device. Again. A lot of plot devices, huh? Anyway, the only character that you get in this is Reina. Who is Reina?
Wait, hold on. Reina. Actually, I think Reina comes later.
Nope. I'm looking at the wiki, dude. She comes into the sea.
Okay, well, something's weird. Well, something is weirding me out, because I know the frozen sea thing happens, but I know there's a stage beforehand, before they meet Camilla, where they end up fighting these fucking ghostly enemies, who we'll get to explain in Revelations.
No, that's in Revelations, dude.
Seriously?
I'm using the damn wiki.
To be fair, my knowledge can be kind of screwed up, dude, because sometimes it just really fucks up.
I'm going wiki by wiki. Anyway, Reina is a Kenshi Knight, which is essentially a Pegasus Knight that can use bows, which comes with the problems of, being a flying unit with bows. And her personality is that of a bloodthirsty animal, but we don't know much because her only conversation is with Korin.
Yep.
I don't really know anything about her.
The only other thing we know is that he was the other retainer to
Mikoto. Oh god! I just saw the next chapter.
Okay.
I remember this one very well. I don't even have to look down. It's Dark Reunion.
Oh.
The basis of this chapter is we're in the war capital of Circensa, which is essentially an XP of Italy. And we go to the opera house, and Azura, in her normal garb, uses a song that makes Garon groan in pain, the king of Nor. And then someone notices we're here, and we have to escape before Garon, who's on the field, or Xander kick our asses.
Fun.
Which is hard because there are two things. Firstly, there's a dragon vein in the chapter which which will freeze the water and fuck you, because all the enemies will then race after you and destroy you. And there are a bunch of chests, one which is right next to Garen, which holds a Draco shield. The thing that increases defense, so you want to grab that. But Garen is an endgame boss. The chapter is a mix of rush to the exit, get Corrin to the exit because Corrin has to escape, grab the chest, and then as soon as the chest is grabbed from your Garen, hightail it out of there. Especially because after I think it's about 8 turns, Xander starts moving.
Oh boy.
And Xander is another endgame boss. It's essentially run the fuck away before you get slaughtered while grabbing the chest if you can. Otherwise, you're going to get slaughtered by the Crown Prince of Nor and the King of Nor. It's panicky.
Wait, hold on.
It's actually a fun chapter.
Wait a second.
What?
I'm checking something.
What?
Hold on. I was right!
What?
We don't fight Camilla yet!
No, it's not that we fight Camilla, it's that there's a bunch of enemies. It's that we meet Camilla before the chapter starts, and then she flies off.
Okay.
I'm reading the damn wiki.
I don't think there's any freezing of the water, there's just tornadoes.
No. She freezes the water and we have to bring up ice pillars to be able to move across the ships. Wait, maybe that's
No?
Wait, maybe that's just because
literally chapter 11, we're fighting the invader enemies. They were apparently brought by...
I'm sorry then.
They were apparently brought by Mr. Jester.
Okay, never mind.
Trust me, I didn't know myself. I was kind of confused because I knew Reyna showed up, but it's been a fucking while.
You know what? I'm mixing up with Revelation's ship chapter.
Yeah, to be fair, I don't blame you. Revelations gets its own ship chapter, and I think it's exactly like this one.
Well, just say this: Birthright is really forgettable. Anyway,
very forgettable.
The only new unit you get in Dark Reunion is Kaden, who is a Kitsune.
The most beautiful and dazzling, I might add.
However, the problem with Kaden is he is like some other characters in that he's based around strength and speed, skill and speed. So he's rather squishy and doesn't hit very hard. Although yeah, he's essentially one of the he's the shifter of Birthright, and his daughter Selkie, who is an adorable little muffin. I love Selkie because she's cute. But yeah, Kaden is actually a really good unit because he hits hard. He can hit hard enough, and if he gets enough good levels, he's gonna kick everything's ass and do it twice. Plus, he crits a lot, and one of his critical quotes is just him laughing. Oh, also, like Naui, Na, Tiki, Yarn, and Pan, all the shifter characters' voices have a slight intonation that makes their voices seem kind of otherworldly. This makes sense because, you know, a Kitsune doesn't have vocal cords.
Yep.
Because it's a fox. Also, his
it's more like speaking telepathically.
I think I think it is actually telepathy, or something like that. Thank you, plot device. Anyway, Kaden's advanced form Ninetales is just a better Kitsune. Now, who is Kitsune in personality?
Well, he definitely has the thing about being about beauty, and I think to give a quote, one of his win quotes is, "Beautiful, just like me."
Yeah, no, that is one of his win quotes. Essentially, Kaden is a massive narcissist. Oh, to be fair, with tales like those, can you blame him? And I mean, he has some pecs showing through that shirt of his.
Very defined pecs.
Also, yeah, he does. Also, Kaden has a tail and fluffy ears. In fact, there's even a little comic of Corrin petting his ears. It's adorable.
He's also one of the characters to literally have text-based frolicking.
Yeah. Oh, and his other big character trait is that he always owes, if someone does something for him, he owes them a favor, which essentially has sent him traveling everywhere to give back that favor. And when he does that, he ends up getting another favor, rinse and repeat. It's how he ended up in Serkensa.
He's a good guy. Just
a little too much.
Maybe a bit too loyal.
Yeah. Anyway, next
Though
chapter.
We haven't even gotten to straight up loyalty yet.
Next chapter is Another Hope. Which one is this?
Oh boy, what is that one?
I'm checking. Oh! This is the Camilla chapter.
Oh.
So what this chapter is, you're at a border town called Chev, and Camilla shows up, complete with her own special CG, which shows off.
Which is very
fan service
defining. Let's say that.
And then you have to fight her, along with a bunch of Norians, in a town.
The Norians include her retainers,
Selena and Baruka,
and her.
I will get into Selena and a lesser group Baruka in the Conquest chapter, because I have a lot to say about, because Selena is a favorite character of mine for a certain reason.
If you've seen the previous stream and you've also seen what Selena looks like, well, you can understand why.
I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway. Another Hope is one of the most annoying chapters for me, because even though you're out in the open, it's very closed in, and there's a bunch of houses that you have to get to, and if you don't get to them fast enough, you're gonna lose out on some very nice goodies.
How nice, you might ask? Very nice.
I'm actually gonna scroll down and say what they are. The house items are a heart seal, which is useless, spirit dust, which increases magic, 10,000 gold, a talisman, which increases resistance, which is very good, a steel Yumi, and a Wayne festival, which is essentially a psychic.
Now, besides the chapter itself, we have to talk about who you get in this chapter.
By the way, I'm gonna know, I hate this. I'm not going into a rant because it's Birthright, but I do not like this chapter at all.
To be fair, I don't blame you. But
anyway, the characters we get are Ryoma and Scarlet.
Scarlet is... Let's talk about Scarlet first, since it's kind of a simple one. Scarlet... I don't know how to put her into words other than... There was so much potential there, but they fucked it up so hard.
She could have been a good character because she's a cheerful, if tragic character who's fighting in the resistance, but due to the fact that they focus on other characters, Scarlet gets no...
And due to the fact that she's the only fucking... And she's... Let's add to the fact that she's a Koran sexual.
Despite having some very obvious nods to her and Ryoma being a thing, especially in Revelations.
Yep. It's sadly wasted. Again, she has good points, but she's
limited.
It sucks.
Also, she's a Wyvern Lord, but her stats are really bad, and she is a case of a late game Jagan. Yes, I'm not kidding.
That's bad.
The other character is Ryoma. Ryoma is...
How to describe Ryoma?
I'll do this one. I unfortunately know a good bit about him, to my great sadness.
Go ahead, but at least let me say this. Breathe, darn you!
Ryoma is the crutch character of the game. To start, his personality, he is the heir to the throne of Hoshido. And his personality, he's Mr. Perfect. Unlike Xander, who had to work for it, anything Ryoma did, he was perfect. perfect, and he's a fucking Gary Sue. He's also shown his gameplay as a swordmaster with the Raijinto. What is Raijinto, you may ask? It's a lightning sword.
Shit!
It's a lightning sword that can strike from 2 spaces away. And here's the thing. He gets after quickly, and you can solo the whole game, all of Birthright with Ryoma. And I don't like him.
This is not hyperbole. This is actually a thing.
I have seen a friend do it. It's a mix of Ryoma is broken, and Birthright is easy. Also, the only other good note about him is he looks like a lobster. He has this weird
hence why I made the joke. Breathe, darn you. But also because of that one meme video.
He has a face helm plate that's based off Sumeragi's, and also with the fact he has a massive mane of hair, it's supposed to be a lion, but it looks like a lobster. Also, yeah. Ryoma is... I don't like him. I have not used him because Birthright's already easy. I don't need to completely snap it in 2.
To be fair, I prefer his son.
His son
Even though his son isn't any better.
His son is okay. Next up
his son is at least more entertaining than him.
We have Light Scatters.
Okay, which one would this be?
It's the one. It's essentially you're going up. You have to kill 2 Inorian characters, Charlotte and Benny, to my great sadness.
Oh.
And then get in the fort and kill a random named enemy.
Yeah, you'd think the border guards would actually be the main enemy.
No.
Nope.
No, here's the thing.
Depressing, especially since Charlotte and Benny are one of actually the better characters of Nor.
Charlotte and Benny can be the best units of the game if you train them right. But here's the thing.
Yep.
It starts off as a big, wide open area with lots of mounted units, then to corridors that are cramped. It's a bad level. And there are no new units gained from it.
It's terrible.
Here's the thing. You know how we barely spent any time on this? This is because at this point, all the chapters get boring. There is almost no units, and it's a slog. The next chapter is Wolfskin Peak. Essentially, you're fighting against the other shifter of the series, the Wolfskin, and then fighting Keen, an Orion character, at the end. That's it.
And in a very depressing manner, because, like, for fuck's sake, you were doing so good there for a minute. It's like, hey, we just want to go through here peacefully. But no, Iago, no. You had to come in out of nowhere with your fucking Macbeth mask. Death mask and ruin it all, didn't ya? Didn't ya, buddy?
Essentially, the Wolfskin liked us, then Iago killed some, and then we had to kill the whole fucking tribe. Yes, we had to do genocide.
Complete and utter genocide.
Next up is Pleasure Palace. Where is Pleasure Palace? Okay, I'm gonna put this bluntly. You're going through a bunch of small corridors with choke points, and you have to get to the 4 chests and kill the outlaws before they get to them. So essentially, it's a rush to kill the thieves before they get the goodies, which are actually quite good, in corridors full of dumb enemies.
If I'm correct, this is also the only time. If I'm correct, this is also the only time where Takumi isn't available.
Yep. You can't use Takumi in this chapter because he's sick.
By some weird and unexplained curse that is never really brought up until later in the game.
Essentially, in Birthright and in Conquest, this is Elise and Takumi in their respective games get sick with an illness we don't know of that will kill them, and then we have to go get medicine, and that's it. And there are no units, although we do get to fight Iago.
Kick his sniveling ass.
To put Iago in perspective, he's essentially a coward who's a retainer to Garen, who is a backstab, who is a slimy son of a bitch, who is a tactician. He uses cowardly tactics. He has stupid high magic, so he does tons of damage to anyone that doesn't have a good resistance. And he's a fucking coward.
I give some credit to him. He was planning on overthrowing Garen when he had the chance.
Ha! Him? The dum-dum the dum-dum who goes down in one round from Corrin?
Yeah.
Okay. So the next chapter is called Lost in the Ice. Essentially, you go to 5 villages, and by going to each village, more characters spawn, and there's a bunch of ice, and it's because the Ice Tribe was told by Garen to kill these guys, or I kill you. Also,
in simple terms,
Garen
everything be fucked.
And Garen is a bastard. Also, we have to fight Flora, your other maid, and Felicia's older sister. And guess what happens at the end of the chapter? At the end of the chapter, here's the thing: the Ice Tribe can naturally use ice powers, and this is shown because both Felicia and Flora have little ice effects on their attacks, like Rinka does with her fire moves.
The problem here is that they kind of are extremely affected by fire more than anyone.
Flora puts herself on fire and she burns to death. Right in front of her younger sister.
As a point, this is basically as just she knows she can't return to Nor because she's gonna get fucking executed for failing.
Here's the thing. She either did this or got tortured to death. This is the lesser of two evils. Burning to death.
Essentially, this is fine.
Now, the next chapter is named Leo.
Now, as a point, every Norian sibling, Ibling gets their own named chapter.
Minus Elise.
We'll get to that reasoning later.
Because Elise is good. The chapter is, we're in a big bog. The bog will damage Hoshin units, and we have to fight Leo and his retainers. And
this
a bunch
includes Odin Dark
and Niles.
And
Niles.
Niles, the greatest.
The chapter is less annoying because it's horror, but because a bunch of faces spawn every turn that have Poison Strike. And we've mentioned Poison Strike. And remember, poisonous bogs that only affect Hoshiden units. Now, what characters will not be affected by this? Corrin and Silas. That's it. Besides those two.
But luckily, if you've been paying close attention to your two Norian brothers, not Norian brothers, but Hoshiden brothers, you basically just cheese the whole fucking thing like it was nothing.
You fight Leo, who will bring up his little stuff when we get to him. But if you just rush ahead with Ryoma or Takumi or Silas and kill him in the first 2 turns, the chapter is immediately over because the objective is to defeat the boss, that being Leo. Although to this chapter's credit, we get a really cool cutscene with Leo, and him saying the punishment for traitors, activates Brynhildr, is death.
We'll kind of explain what what
Brynhildr is.
Later, along with Xander's weapon, Siegfried.
We'll explain Brynhildr with Leo.
Yeah, when we get there.
Oh, I should note.
But for now,
at the end of the chapter, Leo actually helps you, because here's the thing: while the Hoshidans are fucking in denial, the Norians actually accept what Corrin is doing because they know that Garen is something of a bad guy, and they're actually fairly helpful. I don't remember what chapter that is, but at some point, Elise comes up and joins your party in story only to try and
Don't worry, I actually
Okay.
know this one. We're getting close to it because I think we're getting close to.
Yeah. Anyway, the next
the
chapter is
Riverside Marketplace.
Yeah. The next chapter is Rainbow Sage.
Oh boy. Oh yeah, right.
Here's the gimmick of this chapter. You are going through the area, and there are a bunch of rooms that you have to use this fancy teleport thing to get to, and they're small rooms full of powerful enemies, and it's a clusterfuck. Oh, and can I note, the amount of units you can use is decreased from all the chapters, so you have less options to work with.
Which one? What chapter was this again?
It's the one after Leo.
Well, what number is it? So I can have a visual, just so I remember it.
Don't know, but it's the one with a bunch of tiny rooms full of enemies and chests. That is essentially, you have to get lucky if the enemies don't swarm you.
Let me check.
It's called Rainbow Sage Birthright.
Yeah, okay, it's chapter 19.
Oh yeah, I just noticed that. Okay. Next chapter, please.
Ignore that.
Please, next chapter.
Let's see.
Chapter 20, Fort Dragonfall.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I should note.
That one.
Then the Rainbow Sage at the end of chapter 19 turns the Yato into the Noble Yato. And the Rainbow Sage is really cool. I'm gonna get them in Revelations for various reasons. Anyway, here is Fort Dragonfall. Essentially, there is a fort that was once a dragon that has been revived as a skeletal but cannot move dragon, and you must go through the area, going past the bouts of stomach acid. Yes, stomach acid. And all the enemies are faceless, including the boss.
If I'm correct, with
Poison Strike, yes.
What's her? Oh boy, my favorite.
And essentially, the whole chapter is a slog of healing your units by Poison Strike and the poison and the stomach acid.
To be fair,
and killing a bunch of faceless. I'm not kidding.
To be fair, at least we haven't gotten to the worst enemies yet.
Fair. But note, the whole chapter is nothing but faceless. Even the boss.
With Poison Strike.
And the boss has one of the seal moves.
Fun.
Next up, we have Burning Falls. One chapter I actually kind of like.
Which one was this one?
I'll explain it. Well, actually, no, I don't think there are any more units you can get at this point.
Besides,
Burning Falls.
Of course.
Shush. Burning Falls is simply this: you're in an active volcano, and you have to get through the area fighting Stoneborn, essentially living liquid stone golems.
Oh, now we get to talk about the worst enemies.
Yeah, and you have to go through and fight these things while the floor is burning. I like this chapter because it's actually one of the harder chapters, and it's not complete bullshit. Although the Stoneborns, I think Draven wants to go into them, so take it away, Draven.
Look, to a point, there are some variants that are terrible. In specifics, there's the ones that are terrible that have this skill. A skill that reduces movement to 1. Or none, if I'm correct. Actually, yeah, none. They basically paralyze you. You can attack, yes, but you can't move for shit.
Essentially, Stoneborn are living artillery cannons that have a massive attack range, and unless you're right next to them, you can't do shit while they shoot a rock at your face. No, a boulder. Sorry. Also, I'd like to note
they shoot it out of their fucking head.
They're a creepy living liquid rock thing that have a weird mask on them. They open the mask and fire a rock from a hole. It's creepy, and you can actually have these things as stuff in your My Castle. They're unsettling.
Definitely not the greatest.
Okay, the next chapter is Hidden Capital.
If I'm correct, this is the marketplace area.
No. Let me check.
Which chapter is this then?
I'm checking. No, it's chapter 22.
Let me check this, and yeah, it is.
All you.
All right, so let's talk about this one in a simple format. Where are you exactly? Where are you exactly in this damn place of hell, pain, misery?
Wait, no.
Misery.
Sorry. Wait, dude. It's actually the one where you fight Shura.
Yeah, trust me, I just found that out and I was like, okay. It is where you meet Elise, however.
Yes.
Ever. But let's just get the gameplay out of the way first. So, this map is wide open, first of all. However, let me look at the map details. There are in total, actually now that I'm looking at it, there are ballistas.
Yep. Which essentially, they're ballistas, which are massive crossbows.
Now, if you're wondering what the hell ballistas do, or are they some other weapon, they're interactable. They're an interactable thing on the map that archers and, if I'm correct, dagger users can use.
Nope, only outlaws. Only bow users.
Okay, so bow users and all that. Actually, wait, no, yeah.
If
shuriken users get their own variation, which is catapults, if I'm correct.
I don't remember. Essentially, they're just a version that can use shurikens instead of massive bows. That's it.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, the whole chapter is a mess of stuff like maids and berserkers, and it's just a clusterfuck.
And the person you end up fighting at the end of this is
Shura.
Everyone's favorite. Not
Shura.
really. Shura.
Shura is an interesting character because he appears on all three routes, but you have to do a couple things to get him. Actually, I actually beat the chapter that you get him in Revelation before he even showed up.
Yeah, you have to talk. Yeah, you have two. Really, the first two routes it's fine.
Yeah, here's the thing.
Fine, because you just basically get a choice with both of them.
Shura is essentially...
You either let Shura live or you kill him. He understands both choices.
Shura is an adventurer class, which is essentially a better outlaw, which is an archer that's also a thief. It's essential. Adventurer is essentially a revamped trickster class from Awakening, and Shura is someone who lived in Koga, which is the opposing nation to Makushu, the ninja place. And he's had to live as an outlaw ever since Koga got, annihilated by Makushu. And his goal is to get Koga back on its feet, is to revive Koga. And that's it.
And to get his revenge.
And that's really it. Because here's the thing, he only can talk with Korin.
Yep.
So, although he is a pretty sarcastic and world-weary guy, so he's actually has a good character, but he's Norian, so no points for Birthright.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the next chapter is Camilla.
Now what happens in this place? Well, you were in the marketplace.
And now you're in the sewers.
Where some people live, but not many. And you have Elise and her retainers by your side, if I'm correct.
Nope, you have to fight her retainers.
Unless Elise can get to them and talk to them.
She isn't playable.
Yeah, but she's an ally.
Oh, I forgot about that. Anyway, what this
At least
chapter
I think
is, it's rushing through the sewers, killing a bunch of fucking generals and paladins and sorcerers to get to Camilla. Now, the reason why this chapter is so bad, Camilla is standing on a dragon vein, and if you aren't in one of the little gaps between the 3 main areas, you're going to get blasted for about 15 damage by her at the end of every fucking enemy turn. It is up. Essentially, if you can't, essentially you have to rush through, but it's hard because it's full of high defense and resistance units, and you have to fight Wyvern Lord Baruka and Bone Knight Selena. And Camilla isn't exactly a pushover herself, being a Malignite, which we'll get into when we get to her. The chapter is essentially get to Camilla before she completely destroys you by blasting you full of fire, or die.
After that, we get the next part of this entire hellscape, where we get to have an emotional and tear-jerking moment with a character that we have spent so much time on. And oh, who am I fucking kidding? This character has no meaning whatsoever.
There's a character who I honestly can't remember her name, but she was essentially there to introduce my castle. And she takes a blow for Corrin that kills her. And in the My Castle portion, if you go back to her specific thing, after that there's just a little there's not even anything there. It's just an empty altar. It's supposed to be a driving moment, but if I'm being honest, what's more heartbreaking is the fact that when you go up to her place and you offer her something, the food you give just disappears slowly and then you leave. That's more heartbreaking than her actually dying, because she is only mentioned in passing. Like, she is just essentially, I don't even remember anymore. Anyway,
Lilith is her name.
Thank you. The chapter itself is a clusterfuck. Why is this? Well, you start in the middle of the map. Surrounded by a bunch of high-level, hard-to-kill enemies like generals, sorcerers, adventurers, and dark knights. And you have to get through, and it's just essentially boils down to, can you survive the onslaught without dying? Because the enemies respawn constantly.
The answer is probably not.
And guess who the boss is? It's Hans.
It's everyone's friendly neighborhood bald guy.
Hans, you know, the guy who Xander captured because he was a fucking murderer who killed Gunter, who's apparently a retainer of Garin.
And apparently promoted him.
Yep. We should know Hans is a berserker, so he has lots of HP and strength, and can crit, and he has a weapon called the Silver Star Axe. What is this, you may ask? It's essentially a super hand axe that, as I recall, is enemy only. I think the Star Axe is an enemy only weapon.
Fun. Also some heroes as well.
Yes, also he has access to the SS rank axe, which hurts a lot, but weakens him severely. It's essentially...
Yeah, but there's also some hero enemies.
Yeah, the whole point of the chapter is, can you get through fast enough before all your units are killed? Answer is usually no. It is, if I'm being honest, it is probably the hardest chapter in Birthright. Because of where you start, in the middle of it all.
Well, at the very least, next up comes a chapter that...
It's called Traitor Revealed! No! No!
Even though, actually, there is no traitor.
We won't go into it because it's spoilers. And the chapter, like, you don't even have to care about the story anymore. The chapter is this. You start off in a little itty bitty room, and then you have to go around on two sides. One which is full of magic, the other is full of stoneborns and hardening enemy units. And then you have to go through, and then you have to fight Iago and Hans. Hans is in front, and he has a killer axe, and Iago has freeze, which completely stops you. It's like the whole paralysis thing about the stoneborns mentioned. And he has unlimited uses. Along with the SS rank magic, they can kill any of your units dead. I actually forgot about this chapter, so never mind. This is worse. Wait, no, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of the Conquest one. This one is just rushing up to the throne room and blasting and going through a bunch of heroes and paladins and then killing Iago. My bad.
Yeah, there's that. But this one is more... I mean, I'm gonna be honest, it's kind of the same because, like, there's stuff you need to get, and it's being hidden behind... Guess what? More units!
Essentially, think of the thing I just rambled about for about 2 minutes, but make it less 2 ways full of little rooms of enemies, and more going through a bunch of open areas and corridors inside full of very hard to kill enemies.
But hey, it can't get any worse than that, right? Actually, no. For once, we have a good chapter.
Xander.
Even though it's actually can get piss poor easy.
So I'm gonna explain this chapter. Firstly, this is one of 2 chapters in the other one in Birthright in Conquest. Essentially, all of your units are outside and have to get to you because you're trapped in a room of a one-on-one duel with Xander. Now here's the thing. The chapter starts off really easy. Starts off really hard because Xander is Xander, and that being damn near hard, damn near impossible to kill. And then in the cutscene, Xander almost cuts down the Avatar, and Elise jumps in the way, and Xander essentially goes into PTSD. So his stats are weakened severely, and his retainers think that we killed Elise, not Xander, and they can possibly die. This is the
if you don't just decide to 1v1 Xander, but canonically for Birthright, it's probably just canon that Laszlo and Perry are fucking dead.
They are dead.
That's gonna be a lovely thing to come back to, when we get to Laszlo, Selena, and Odin.
Wait, we had to kill Odin, Niles, Baruka, and Selena too in canon.
No,
we did.
They live.
Oh, what? Well,
no,
still. Well,
they live.
When you consider what Laszlo, Odin, and Selena came here to do, you just fucked the world.
Yeah, but I think it's like...
Anyway.
It's really fucking weird.
The chapter can actually after the cutscene with Elise and Xander, you can actually finish the chapter in about 2 turns because Xander's stats are weaker than are about as weak as a unpromoted unit, and it's honestly one of the most saddening chapters in Fates because Elise protects us and sacrifices herself. And then we have to kill Xander. And even though Xander seems like Realma, he's actually one of my favorite characters in Fates. And they say that and Nor are the bad guys?
The thing about Nor is that the thing about Hoshido is that they're filled with fucking... I guess the definition would be they're filled with people that are completely... It's justice, order, and shit, and peace. But most of the characters are still the samey, while Nor is filled with morally gray, yet still good in a way.
Hochido is essentially the country of justice and paragons and light and boring characters, while Nor, as I actually mentioned this while you were gone to get food, Raven, Nor is a country of anti-heroes. minus a few like Iago, Hans, and Garen.
But even then, Garen used to be something completely different.
Here's the thing: Garen before something, Garen was the definition of a doting father, and since he couldn't simply cut ties with anyone he fell in love with, he had a lot of concubines, but the concubines essentially tried to backstab each other all the damn time, and a lot of here's the thing. Apparently there are a lot more Norian royals, but after the whole bloodshed, Leo, Camilla, Xander, and Elise said, we're not going to fight. And though those four... Here's the thing. All the Norian siblings are actually only half-siblings. But the thing is, their ties are so strong, they could never even think about hurting any of the other ones, even if Garen ordered them to. And believe me, when you see the expression that Xander makes after he realizes he's just killed his baby sister, it's gonna haunt you for the rest of your life. Like,
great.
Like the face Xander makes, and just how broken he sounds after he realizes, oh god, I've just killed Elise. He sounds like he sounds completely broken. And trying to lighten the mood here, but that's the only good thing that comes out of Birthright. Yes, the death of Elise and the breaking of Xander is the only real exciting thing that happens in Birthright.
And what comes next? Oh boy, it's a fight with the Burger King himself!
Well, not really, because... Little thing... the next chapter, King Garen, who's named after Garen, his actual personality was not quite this bad, but stuff that is revealed in Revelations turned him into the monster that he is.
Things are just great.
And this is the second to last chapter of Birthright. It's called King Garen. What you have to do is you have to fight Garen, obviously. And guess what Garen is actually?
A giant fucking asshole!
No, I mean...
And a dragon.
No, I mean his physical form. Or is that in Conquest?
No. Well, he has two forms. There's the form you fight him in, which is his normal human form. At least with Birthright, and then you fight his dragon form.
No, not that. 1 second.
If you're talking about the goo monster, that's Conquest.
Okay, yeah, because the actual Garen is spoilers. The actual Garen is long dead by the events of the game, and he's been replaced with a goo monster thing.
It's just great.
Which is revealed using a plot device, Crystal Ball. Anyway, King Garen, the chapter in King Garen, I actually remember it. It's sufficiently hard because you're fighting Garen, who has the Dragon Skin ability, which essentially has all damage and nullifies critical hits. So you can't even get them.
Also, certain abilities like lethality.
Yeah. It essentially is a skill that makes it so that he can't get. Essentially, it cuts damage in half, and makes it so that any skills or critical or skills that could damage him a lot, or something like critical hits can't be activated. Garen is sufficiently hard because he has a unique axe that does a lot of damage, and his stats are really high. And then we have the endgame Dawn Breaks, which, by the way, showcases a problem that's in all three endgames for Fates. From the chapter before the epilogue and the endgame, you can't save. So if you want to do the endgame again, you also have to do the chapter before it. Oh, and by the way, you can't exit the end game. So if you're on the second to last chapter, if you're on the chapter for the end game and the end game in any of the Fates games, You better have an hour and a half of free time ready, or be able to plug your 3DS in, because.
However, good news, and I do mean good news. Birthrights is the easiest.
Dawn Breaks is this. There's a creepy fucking dragon thing that used to be Garen, and then. Would you like to know what it all is? You see, there's a bunch of high-level enemies that can constantly kill you. But here's the problem. Due to where you are placed, and where Garen is placed, if you just rush all your units ahead, and you have a nice strong unit, you can kill Garen on turn 2.
Yeah.
And
they said.
Yeah. And this is the problem with Birthright. Birthright is a bland game that's stupidly easy. And what is supposed to be an epic fun conclusion is ruined by the fact that Dragon Garen is weak as all hell. And here's the thing. I have seen people I have personally been able to see my Hana crit Dragon Garen. So he actually loses the Dragon Skin ability.
It's great!
In exchange for, of all things, Poison Strike.
Which he can barely use, since if I'm correct, his range isn't even that large.
He doesn't move. He has a range of 2. But here's the thing. 1 Dragon Fang on a Corn with high enough strength can kill him in 1 strike. Oh yeah, we forgot to mention what Dragon Fang is.
Dragon Fang is essentially Corrin's version of Ignis, kind of.
Since Corrin is technically a dragon, the head of their dragon becomes a sort of mask, and then what they do is they first hit them with a sword, then use this lance thing, and then their jaw. By the way, you know what? All of Corrin's moves in Smash, they're just extensions of Dragon Fang. And the
Yato, but that's really it.
Yeah, all of his specials. Sorry, there. And essentially, Dragon Fang is an attack that deals 1.25 damage. And a fancy animation. And like
that also has a different animation for when you crit with it as well.
Yeah, I know. Here's the thing. I repeat. If you get off a Dragon Fang on a Corn with high enough strength, about, I think, 25, and using the Yato Blade, you can kill Garen with 1 attack.
Great. That's some real groans of increasing discomfort.
A boring conclusion to a slog of a game.
But hey, now we can talk about the rest of the characters, that being the children units. Whoa! Oh, wait, hold on. We forgot about one person.
Oh.
We forgot about one person. The man, the myth, the legend, it's Mikoto's 3rd retainer and the tactician of Hoshido, Yukimura.
Who? I legitimately forgot who that guy is.
Well, if I'm gonna be honest, I don't blame you. He's kind of like an afterthought. He's not a bad character. In fact, his design is honestly one of the more nicer ones because he looks tired. And the glasses, too. But I guess let me just throw this out there. He's the Mechanist class, and his personality is essentially a tactician nearing, but a soft-spoken tactician. Kind, wise, and just willing just to say fuck you if you betray the country.
Okay. I need to get a bit of chips to deal with the children units because, my god, some of them are bad.
I need a drink. Don't worry, I'm getting a drink. When we talk about
There's a reason we're acting like this. Trust me. It's bad. We'll have to start with how they you know, put them in. Spoilers. They did it. They used a plot hole. Why yes, I just poured a bag of chips and got myself a small glass of water. Do you care? No. Believe me, the child units are so bad. I'll just wait till Draven's back. Believe me. I think Draven needs to talk about these guys.
I return!
So, let's start with how the Triad units are integrated into Fate's plot.
Terribly!
Short answer, they aren't.
Yes. So, how do we explain this?
Deep realms.
So since the children units were so positively welcomed from Awakening, Fates decided to do it. But the problem is, unlike with Awakening, where the explanation was time travel, in this, it's something known as the Deep Realms.
Essentially,
and I quote this, time flows faster, so more characters can have different ages. In specifics, it's terrible. It's like beyond fucking terrible. Terrible. Let me just say this. It's terrible. It's bad. Some of the characters that come out of it are great. I can't say, hey, that some of them are like completely terrible. It's just the problem that the way they did it, the way they implemented these children units, is terrible.
It's lazy as fuck.
That's a perfect way to describe it. It's cash grabby, and it's just terrible. The characters that come out of it, sometimes great, but the problem is that the route we're on has the worst of the bunch. But let's start off a little bit better. Let's start off with Kana.
Yes.
Kana is basically essentially the same as Corrin, at least in terms of gameplay. Gameplay besides...
Okay, you remember Morgan from Awakening? Kana is that. Same thing with the whole gender thing. They're just like Corrin. The only difference is Kana is a lot younger, and they're fucking adorable every time they're on screen.
They're really adorable and horrible and just sweet as a button and everything nice, but the problem is that's all they are.
There is no difference between them, and their chapter is bad.
Really bad.
You got this one.
It's like, okay, I'm going to try to put this in the best way I possibly can. In simple terms, the chapter itself has a lot of powerful units surrounding the area. However, the dragon veins you can use can create a moat that surrounds a certain, let's say, square area. One in the outer ring section and one in the closer ring section. you have to defend Kana for this route because Kana is going through some severe draconic rage, similar to Corrin
in Chapter 5.
However, that's the cost of this. Is that it's really, really bad because if Kana dies, they're fucking dead. Luckily, Kana won't move unless an enemy is in their general vicinity, which you can easily block off.
But here's the thing:
and even in case there are flyer enemies, you can at least just keep some units there to deal with them.
But the thing is, the enemies' AI patterns, it's kind of like with Tiki Chapter No Awakening. They are programmed to go after Kana first and foremost if they can. They will straight up ignore.
This especially comes in when a running joke for Fire Emblem, two very luscious-lipped males come in to take Kana because one of them said they wanted him as a pet. Promptly murder them if you don't mind.
Because they're both berserkers.
Yeah, and that's not a good thing to get close to Kana. Or anyone, for that matter.
Yeah, because remember, berserkers are fucking powerhouses.
However, but that's just the chapter. And we've covered Kana's personality enough, so I think that's how it should go.
Let's stop here. Shigure.
I was going to talk about Dwyer, but sure, we'll talk about Singer Boy.
Shigure is Azura's son, and he's a Pegasus Knight. And
similar to Lucina, their hair color will always be Azura's hair color.
Yeah. Even Kana doesn't have that problem. We should note that Azura is essentially the second protagonist game after Corrin.
However, we shall bring this to a point. Shigure does have something about him. The weird thing is, he was Yusuke Kitagawa before Yusuke Kitagawa was a thing.
Yep.
Art boy voiced by Matthew Mercer.
Yep.
And giving credit this is just a side thing, we're giving credit to Matthew Mercer, he actually can sing.
Yeah, Shigure, if I'm being honest, he inherits his mother's singing ability, and it's really good. Like, say what you will about how bad the two characters themselves are, because believe me, Shigure is kind of bland, they sing really well.
Yeah, and they do have a bit of a crowning moment. In fact, all of the children units have a crowning moment in the Children DLC Heirs of Fate.
Which, I'm not gonna lie...
It's the only time where Fate's writing is actually good, but it's also terrible.
I'm not gonna lie, I haven't seen it. It's because it's essentially
and I will explain it to you.
Okay.
After Revelations.
Okay. So, next up we have Dwyer, Jacob's son.
Who, if I'm gonna describe as anything, imagine L from Death Note. Death Note if he was a butler.
He looks like him too.
Yeah, I think that was actually the design philosophy behind him.
Oh. I'd like to know, I haven't actually seen that anime, to my great sadness.
To be fair, I kind of don't blame you. Emu, it's one of those shows where you either like it or you don't like it.
1 second.
But anyway, to talk about Dwyer.
1 second. Be right back.
Am I okay to talk about him in gameplay at least?
Go ahead.
Alright, gameplay. Dwyer, our starting class is a Troubadour. Troubadour, similar to Elise, but with him, really the stats depend on the parent, but he's definitely suitable for Butler. For Butler, if you don't have a magical mother for him, But if you do have a magical mother for him, turning him into a Valkyrie is not a bad option. He's pretty good. Hood. I'll save the personality from when you get there, but his design definitely is actually pretty good, if I'm gonna be honest. Yeah, you get that tired feeling off of him, and it definitely works wonders. He looks dead on the inside, and he kind of is. Kind of. Other things about him. Like a note from gameplay standpoints. Oh right, his map. How to explain his map? Better? Oh wait, actually, we didn't talk about Shigure's map. I don't remember it that much. Difficult to remember someone you barely ever got. Anyway, what was I thinking about? Oh, hey, are you back?
I have returned.
Ah, great, because we did forget one thing when talking about Shigure. His map. To be fair, all I remember about it was on a boat, and his friends are dead.
Yeah, and the boats constantly move.
Yeah, but similar to Awakening's boat map, it's kind of easy if you know what to do. Because if I'm correct, it's a just kill the boss mission. And you just have to shoot that boss down with some arrows, and everything is solved. But that's just that. Next up, Dwyer. I've already talked about his gameplay, so we can get to his personality and then his map.
If I'm being
honest,
honest,
you want to take this one?
No, because I've never actually used him.
All right, so personality. Dwyer is tired. He's lazy to a fault. Prefers to really just not do anything that involves too much work. To the point where his father has definitely noticed this and hates every second of it. But the surprising thing about him is that he's actually a better butler than his own dad.
Whoa.
How is this possible? Well, despite his laziness and just not wanting to work, he's actually really good. He's just really good at working. Working because not only has he had to learn from his father, and most of the people around him, he's kind of good at what he does. And he definitely isn't afraid to gloat about it to his dad.
Nice.
He's also not half bad in the personality section, at least when it comes to being not lazy. Weirdly enough, he actually helps Soleil with one, and in one of the most depressing ways of not being able to get a romance option, he's kind of... We'll get to that when we talk about Soleil. But that's Dwyer. Next up, I leave Kaze's kid to you.
Yay. So.
Oh wait, map.
Right.
We gotta talk about the map.
Explain it. I don't actually know it again. Sorry. I almost beat it. I haven't actually played it before.
Alright, I will. Alright, in simple terms, simple terms, Dwyer is over in the back side of the map, up in a room being protected by, I think, four knights, I think. And he's healing all of them. Despite his father is surprisingly more pissed at Dwyer than he is at the enemies trying to kill his son.
Wow.
Mainly because Dwyer is in the back doing nothing besides healing. Healing, and he also might just be a little bit pissed at the fact that the place is a complete mess. But that's its own thing. The basic is, if I'm correct, it's a route the enemy mission, so you kind of have to take care of everyone! And it depends, since depending on when you get a child unit, you can get them at them pretty early if you want to. The enemies will either be pre-promoted, or there will either be promoted units, or they won't be. Won't be with the occasional promoted unit.
We'd like to know that unlike Awakening, where you can not be able to access a child's paralog immediately due to where they're on the map, the Deep Realms are nowhere, and there is no world map.
Fun! They're like little pocket dimensions.
Yeah. So in other words, lazy writing.
But anyway, next up, Kaze's kid. I actually forgot her name. Midori.
Thank you. Midori is an apothecary, which is essentially an archer that and increases the potency of healing items.
Bless you.
So, kind of boring.
Yep.
Midori, however, is adorable. She is very sweet, very kind. She's one of the younger characters, but she tries to be an apothecary, and she always tries her best to a slightly scary degree. But due to how she is a hard-working little munchkin that you cannot help but love.
Yep. Kaze raised her well.
He raised her very well.
Yep. Unlike most host parents when they send their kid to the Deep Realms.
Also, here's the thing. Unlike almost all of the parents, Kaze actually came to Midori's Deep Realm with regular frequency.
Yep.
This is helped by the fact that Midori is only a little bit older than Kana, who can be no older than 12. So yeah.
So with Midori out of the way, we get to the fine. Oh wait, the map, right?
Yep.
Right.
Her map is a special one. What you have to do is there's the boss called Candace, who's an adventurer, running through, and you have to kill her before she escapes the map. Which is actually, it sounds hard, but it's easy because there's a dragon.
Dragon veins.
You can burn the dragon vein and cut her off, and you can have her killed in as quickly as 4 turns. But you don't want to because it's better to chip her down in a little house so she hides in a fort, and repeatedly do that while you go and kill all the other enemies, because there are a lot of enemies.
And all of them have loot.
A few of them do. Although, don't put any flyers near Candace, because she is an adventurer, as in bows. Also, you automatically get some dragon herbs by completing the chapter. What are dragon herbs, you may ask? +2.
Well,
+2 to every stat, except for HP and movement. As such,
it's really great.
As such, the only way you can get them is through this paralog, Wi-Fi stuff, or if you have a path bonus, which you get by having 2 or 3 roots, all on the same file. So 1 physical and 2 digital, essentially.
That's great.
Didn't do that because I had both the physical copies, because you can't get a physical for Revelations. Okay, next up we have... Who is it again?
Silas' kid. And
Sophie.
that would be...
Sophie.
We're gonna be honest here. Imagine a bootleg Sumiya.
It's not quite as bad as some of them. But she's But she's a massive klutz, and that's most of her personality. In fact, one of her personal skills is if she attacks someone, their clothes automatically get stripped. Yes, clothes get stripped in this game, and it can happen to everyone. There's even a set of weapons called the Raider weapons that are designed to do this. It's dumb.
You might ask, why are they called the Raider weapons? Well, I'm telling you. Have you ever been on a panty raid?
I don't think that's why, but I give up.
To be fair, come on, we need more SpongeBob references.
Also, I'd like to note, destroying someone's clothes doesn't do anything in gameplay. It's merely aesthetics. So in other words, Sophie's personal skill is just an aesthetic thing.
It's basically for a joke.
Yep.
Essentially, it's Fire Emblem Heroes battle damage before Fire Emblem Heroes battle damage was a thing.
Yep, and Sophie is just essentially a weaker Silas.
Yep.
And if I'm being honest, I don't remember her chapter at all.
I don't either. I think honestly, it could have been something involving protecting people. I don't even remember myself. Like, honestly, we're probably gonna have to look that up.
I think.
But which one of us doesn't?
No one, because I think I remember essentially, you have to kill a bunch of enemies before they get to a bunch of weak allies, and kill them. I think that's it.
Yep, I think that's probably it too.
The last time I played a chapter was when I was playing Conquest, and that was several months ago.
Well, besides that problematic thing, let's now focus on the actual Birthright children.
Yes, because all the other ones are ones that can be gone any of your roots, because all those units are ones that are got regardless of root.
Now, who do we talk about first? Do we start with, like, do we start with Ryoma's kid?
No.
Who do we start with, then?
The XPs. Let's get them out of the way now.
Oh, boy.
First up, Kaldori.
Alright, so let's actually give them a general statement of what these three are.
Here's the thing. I mentioned that their names are anagrams of awakening characters. Kaldori is an anagram of Cordelia. Kaldori is literally just Cordelia recolored.
Cordelia 2.0.
But worse, cause it doesn't work well, cause that is her whole gig, and at least Cordelia had more to it than that. And I mean, Kaldori is Cordelia, but with none of her insecurities.
Yep, raised as the only thing she's insecure about is being it isn't even being Miss Perfect, it's just that she's not, it's just that she might not be as good as her father.
It's even worse because her father is a perfectionist.
Yep, and he's a perfectionist with actually some slight reasons for it.
While Kaldori has none. And her chapter is a route the enemy map that's split in two by a river. It's tiny, and that's it. Moving on. Let's get the next one out of the way.
Which one? Asagi or Rajat?
Asagi.
Alright, that one's terrible.
Asagi is an anagram of Gaius.
This one disappoints both of us to no end.
Because here's the thing. We both like Gaius a lot. Asagi is useless because his whole thing is that he doesn't want to be want to be named Saizo, as in Saizo the 7th, because Saizo is Saizo the 6th, and he has a thing for sugar, and his father cannot eat sweets. So he's a rebellious kid who's based off Gaius.
And he's not even goodly based off Gaius. It's it's literally bootleg.
Take all the good parts, the insecurities, the problems, the fun personality out of Gaius, and you have Asagi. And make him younger looking.
And let's not even talk about his confession quote. It's terrible.
Hey, we should note, these 3 XPs even look like who they're XP'd off of, just with very tiny clothing differences. And portraits.
Definitely different. Definitely somewhat different clothing and posing, but it's different clothing. But the problem is that they have certain things, specifically the fact that Kaldori has a wing hair clip on her, similar to Cordelia. Asagi Asagi not only has the bandana and the Gaius always wore, but also has a lollipop always permanently in his mouth. And Rajat, she's right. We'll talk about her later.
Before we get to that, Rajat is an anagram of Tharja. You can probably guess the problem from there.
If you didn't like Tharjan Argent Awakening, you're not gonna like Rajat here.
And it's even worse because she's yandere for Corrin, and she's a kid while Corrin is technically an adult.
Yeah. She's older than her father Hayato, I should mention. Which is great.
Now here's the thing. Rajat is essentially a recolored Tharja with less curves. That's it. She even has the whole eyes covered by her bangs thing that Tharja did.
Yeah, and she also similar to Tharja has an expression that has her face going dark, at least her eyes, to where you can't see them.
That's the bang thing. You just said what I said. Also, I'd like to know, Kaldori, Asagi, and Rajat have the same classes as their XPs, except for Asagi, because thieves don't exist, so he's a ninja instead.
Still about as close as you can get.
And
not to mention,
here's the thing.
Similar to Assassin, its upgrade does have lethality.
And here's the thing. Dark Mages and 2 degree Pegasus Knights are really bad in Fates.
It's great.
I'm not gonna lie. I think Asagi's chapter was kind of like Nina's, and I think Rajat is just kill a bunch of faceless.
It is. And weirdly enough, she starts off as an enemy until you get Hayato over to her and tell her to stop acting like a fucking crazy person.
Another nod to Tharja, who you had to recruit, and she was an enemy unit.
Weirdly, I think that also adds to it more, because when you get Asagi, he's in a sort of palace-like area.
Now, to put this simply, they're XPs, they're done badly, and we will never speak about those 3 again. Capiche, viewers?
I'm afraid we're going to have to. Because despite the hatred we have towards them, I can actually say they have one good thing.
What?
They actually have good character moments and Heirs of Fate.
Okay. Moving on to the actual Birthright kids who are not XBs.
Ryoma's kid?
No, we're saving him for last because he's technically the best one.
I wouldn't say that.
Technically.
Kind of.
I say technically for a damn reason.
Takemi's
is better.
Maybe it's just my... Thank you.
We're saving Takemi and Ryoma's kid for last. Let's start with Mitama. Let's start with Mitama.
Ah, yes. If you ever wanted to know the textbook definition of neat, Mitama is the actual format of that. Prefers to take naps, stays indoors, and is really, really, really fond of haikus.
Here's the thing, the official definition is Hikikomori. In the Japanese version, she's actually called that by her father, Azama.
Well, Hikikomori is one thing, but I'll just go with neat, since some people understand neat more than Hikikomori.
I know. But anyway, her chapter is Kill a Bunch of Enemies. However,
before you kill the enemies, you gotta get Azama to knock on her fucking door or a bunch to get her outside.
Essentially, Azama has to drag her out kicking and screaming.
It's, yeah.
Mitama's gameplay is a shrine maiden.
And depending on who her mother is, she either heals better. She either heals better than Sakura, or she just does something better than Sakura, depending on the mother. So either strength, magic, but why would you give her magic when magic is kind of bad in this game?
Yeah. Anyway, as for personality, haiku.
When one nears 40, the power of money is revealed. Happily bankrupt.
Yeah, a lot of what, unfortunately, despite how Mitama looks with the whole star-shaped pupil thing, most of her personality is around being a neat and haiku.
Look, the sad part is that when it comes to haikus, she's not the greatest. Look, if you want a person who does haikus while at the same time being a badass, please go watch Slayer's Insta-Kill and Guilty Gear Xrd.
Okay.
He makes a haiku for every time he beats the crap out of someone.
Okay, let me think about this. I'm trying to remember the Birthright kids.
Let's talk about Hisame.
Dull, uptight, and likes pickles.
Now you're probably wondering why we mentioned that last part. I'm going to quote his confession here. Our love is stronger than the most pungent pickle. Will you dive into the brine with me?
The whole thing is, besides somebody being uptight and even more dull than his father, he likes pickles. Which is funny because
really likes pickles.
Which is funny because Inada hates the things. And he's worse than his father in gameplay.
Yep, and this does not matter who the parent is, as I've definitely seen it. Yeah.
I wasted Obero on him. I regret it daily.
This is why you marry Orbo to Takumi.
Shut up. Anyway,
let's just honestly, we don't even need to talk about his map because it's fucking boring.
Yeah, no, it's just boring. Okay, who's next?
let's see. Shit, there's gotta be something here. I know there was something more.
We're forgetting someone.
Okay, hold on. Let's stop for a second and remember the retainers. Retainers and everyone else.
Okay, Sakura's retainers. We've done hers. Takami's. We've done his.
Hinoka's. We've done Azama.
Ryoma.
We've done Ryoma's. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna check the wiki.
Yeah, it's this bad, guys. We're this bad. Birthright's just kind of boring. The Chinese aren't that good either.
It's bad. It's really, really bad. But let's just.
I mean,
hold on. Might be able to solve this.
I remember most of the Norian kids at least. Oh God, we forgot. I don't remember who it was.
What?
The most scatterbrained fox ever.
Oh, okay, there we go. I kind of feel bad for this one.
Selkie.
I actually do kind of feel bad for this one. I think we kind of got distracted by everything being terrible.
Selkie is Kaiden's adorable little daughter, and she is the best child unit in Birthright. Fight me.
I have Soleil and Ophelia to contradict that.
I said in Birthright.
Okay, that's better.
Best kid in Birthright, not Conquest or Revelations. Why is this?
Better.
Because Selkie is adorably scatterbrained and loves to play. And
love the playing.
And it comes off very well. And unlike her father, who can fall behind, if she has a good mother, she is a monster.
How much of a monster? Well,
crits for days.
You'll either be hearing a critic. Well, you'll definitely. All right. Luckily, we're almost done. There's only 2 more left.
Wait, I also want to mention something. Selkie is along with the other shifter kid. Her hair color is it's blonde with a strip of whatever color her mother's is. Okay, I think we've got them all except for the royal kids.
Which are only 2. So let's talk about them.
I say we think because if we did forget one, I apologize, but Birthright's really boring.
We didn't. We've literally covered We've literally covered the 4 awful ones and the 2, and we've literally covered 4 awful ones, 1, one pretty good. But now we're on to both that are at least something. A light in the darkness, basically.
Alongside Selkie.
So, which one first? Ryoma's? Oh.
Ryoma's.
Alright. Alright, Ryoma's it is.
Shigure.
No. Shiro.
Thank you.
To be fair, I don't blame you. It's about as close as you're gonna get. Both of them have the closest names ever.
Shiro is a spear fighter. Why is this?
Because fuck you, Dad!
Yeah, that's a lot of what Shiro's personality is, but it's done well, actually.
Yeah, it's surprisingly done well. It's not the worst thing in existence, and it's,
because,
you know,
I mean,
there's at least some motivation behind it.
His father is Ryoma, and he was constantly, like, trying to brought up to be as good, if not better, than Ryoma, which when Ryoma is essentially Mr. Perfect, that's really hard.
Yeah.
However, he's not very complex. In fact, he has a lot of battle lust, and one of his goal is to, in fact, be able to defeat Ryoma one-on-one.
He is, interestingly enough, despite his father is a spear fighter.
I mentioned
again,
that.
Fuck you, Dad.
Yeah. Shiro is admittedly one of the better. Like, if Obro is pretty good, Shiro is kind of a mixed bag because his usefulness is really dependent on his mother.
Yeah. However, okay, we talk about his personality and his gameplay.
Well, wait, no. His gameplay is that he essentially, if he has a good mother, he's good. If his mother is subpar, he's gonna fall behind.
And now we talk about his
map.
Fucking end my life. He has the worst map out of the Birthright kids.
Possibly the worst one in all of Birthright. Why is this? So remember.
Well, first of all, he's gonna headbutt suicide himself into enemies, and mind you, this gets really worse. And I mean, gets really worse if you gave him if you're like me, and specifically had his mother be. Oh shit, we forgot about the villager of the game.
Well, no, we'll explain in Revelations or Conquest.
Yeah, but anyway, if his mother was, excuse me, I need to remember her name. If you did something like me and made his mother Mozu and was a weapon master, and inherited the skill Life and Death, well, he was gonna die pretty quickly.
So, to go into more context, firstly, his map is a desert level.
One of the only desert levels in Fates, I should mention.
Might be the only. Well, no, the Wind Tribe one in Birthright has half desert.
Yeah, but there's a path you can walk on, and you can even create
more. But yeah.
Yep.
So, as a desert level, everyone but mages, who suck, and flyers, who in Birthright, since it's all Pegasus Knights, also suck, unless using a wyvern, are going to have decreased movement. So essentially, it's a race against time, and hoping Shiro doesn't suicide himself. Which is hard to do because he starts fairly far away from you.
Your essential goal is just take your bestie, just take Ryoma on a flying unit, and just start booking it.
Yeah, take your best units, and even if you're not using him, Ryoma too, and start killing them fast. Or you are going to lose Shiro.
Yep, just talk to Shiro, and once he's finally, on your side, move him as far, either pair him up with someone where he's in the back row, where he's just in the back side where he won't get attacked, or move him as far away from any enemies in the general vicinity.
Because that is
your main goal after you talk to him.
Because here's the thing. All child units start at level 10 unpromoted, which means, especially since you get really late, most of the enemies in Shiro's parallel are going to be promoted, so Shiro is going to die very fast.
To give a thing, depending on how much progress you've made, if you get the child unit early, the enemies you fight will not be pre-promoted. In fact, they'll be less than anything. They'll just be base class. But if you're pretty late in the game, you fight pre-promoted units.
And they are strong.
And they are fun.
And remember, Ryoma comes relatively late, and it takes even longer to support him. So chances are, Shiro's going to be running headlong into a squad of promoted units.
Yep, because fuck you, Dad, I want to die.
Damn it, Shiro, why you have to be so hard?
Let's talk about the not so annoying map with Takami's kid, Hiragi.
1 second.
It's good to have something good.
Sorry.
That's fine.
So let's start with Kiragi's personality.
Well, he's friendly, optimistic, and really... And I do mean optimistic to the point where no matter what he's going through, he's always trying to smile.
Yep.
And to give something, he's definitely an opposite to his dad, who is like who Takumi isn't all smiles, he sometimes smiles. Kiragi is just all on the surface, which is great.
Also, Kiragi
because it's really nice.
Kiragi is a really good hunter.
Yep.
Unfortunately, that does mean that a lot of his personality is stuck towards being a good guy and being a hunter, but it's done well at least.
Yeah.
And unlike his older cousin, Kiragi is an archer.
Yep.
And while he's not Takumi levels because he doesn't have the frickin' fusion, he is still a good archer. And in my experience, he's one of the few good Kinshi Knights.
And as a nice thing, he really does look up to his dad.
Oh yeah. Takumi gets pretty embarrassed in his conversation with his son, because Kiragi holds him to the highest caliber, and it makes Takumi smile, but also get a little worried.
Well, we done it.
Nope.
We done diddly don did it.
His map.
Right. His map. It's a forest map. And if I'm correct, it's full of a mixture of flying units and some other units.
Yeah, it's essentially Archer Central for you.
Yep. And for Kiragi, and it's actually one of those times when you can actually use the child unit right off the bat, and throw some arrows.
Yeah, and the chapter,
if you're feeling it.
The chapter is essentially perfect to let Kiragi get a couple levels and start off. Coming.
Yep.
1 second.
Yep. Golden wind.
Okay.
Alright.
So, I think we got it.
That's it for Birthright.
That's all Birthright.
Fucking did it.
Yeesh. We'll have to go into mechanics.
That was a painful experience.
Yeah, we'll have to go into a mechanics update about specifics for Fates in the Revelations one.
Yep.
I'm realizing Revelations is probably going to be a long one.
Oh yeah, it will be.
Less because of the characters, more because the chapters, which we have to explain in great detail. In simple terms, Draven has problems with Revelations. So do I, but not quite as bad as him.
I have to just look at it, and I can only say it's basically the living definition of throw shit at the wall and see what sticks.
I mean, some of it works out pretty well.
Not all the time.
We'll get to that when we get to it. In like 2 weeks, because school's starting up again for me, so I can't do streams like every third day.
Yep.
Yay.
So,
anyway.
Will that be all?
Yeah, hey, it only took us as long as the first Fire Emblem one, not long as last time.
Woo!
Actually, this is the shortest Fire Emblem one yet.
Woo! We did it!
Good, because and we never have to talk about Birthright again.
Until Heirs of Fate, which I have to explain.
They'll
probably just explain it to you in like a random call or something.
Please, because I have no idea what happened in that one.
Yeah.
Anyway, this has
been that out of the way.
This has been Roxas Shade
and Draven the Vagabond,
talking about Fire Emblem Fate's Birthright in our Fire Emblem Marathon. Thank you all very much for watching, and we will see you guys next time. Peace.
Eddie Fidel.